I'm pretty sure. We good? All right, we'll try this again. We want to welcome you to the 2017 Conscious Olympics. My name is Charles, and my skin is my sin. In concert with Revolutionary Mind Cinema. If you know Keith, you know the situation. Rest in peace to the king, his instructor, Mr. Muhammad. Our thoughts and our condolences are with you and the family. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody that showed out. I want to also thank everybody that donated, and I want to thank the brothers that's here to participate. Like I said, all we did was ask, and they didn't ask for anything in return. If you're unfamiliar with the Conscious Olympics, to keep it brief, it's Jeopardy for Black folks. This is about us. The questions are about us. The participants are us. And it's a way for us to engage in knowledge in a fun way. And also it's $500 on the line. You know, so I want our next generation to know that learning about us can be profitable. You can enjoy it. And it does a lot for just who you are as a person. And when you start learning about us, and you have kids, they come out the womb knowing about us. Okay? If you purchase the live stream and hope to see Break the Foundation, I want to apologize, even though it really doesn't deserve an apology because the brother had baby. So salute to him and his queen, salute to Kennedy. That's the young queen that was born. And bro, man, you know I love you, bro. We still gonna rock out with some of your music. Because I want people to know what Break the Foundation is. You know, and if you into us, you need to be in the Break the Foundation. You need to be in the Knowledge. You need to be in the KT, the arts degree. You need to be in the Asa Nori Bey. You need to be in the Minister Enqi. You need to be in the Que Butter. You need to hook up with Doggie Diamonds. So if you about us, look up with one of them names, if not all of those names I just mentioned, because that's pro-Black to the fullest. All right, so with that being said, we're going to jump off with a couple of songs by Break the Foundation. After that, we're going to get into some of the kings building them, and then we're going to get into knowledge performing. All right, salute to y'all, and let's get it going.
So we just gonna argue over everything Beyonce do, like that's what's important. To be honest, I'm disappointed, but I'm not here to pass judgment. I just thought since we conscious that we have better priorities. Gods and goddesses ought not be caught up in celebrity gossip while kids in Flint got a shower in water with metal deposits. It's not uncommon for them people to put lead in our bodies, but they switch their ammo. They usually use pistols. This time they did it with faucets. Either way, the end result is coffins for our sons and daughters. It's a genocide in progress, and they won't stop till they kill all this obvious. The system's incredibly biased. Otherwise, Snyder would be already indicted, facing federal charges if they practice equality. He wouldn't be holding state office. He'd be selling to Kwame. Lord knows if the culprit's name is Muhammad, he'd already be in Guantanamo, being denied his right to counsel and being waterboarded for hours by CIA operatives and the names accomplices. But this unjust political system of ours allows elected officials the power to make American cities resemble Rwanda. The only consequence is to offer public apologies. Is it irony or hypocrisy that Michigan's governing bodies screw their constituents then pass laws against sodomy? They put lead in the water, then double the charges without a conflict of conscience, because manslaughter isn't a problem as long as it's profitable. They want us dead as quickly as possible. They ain't even hiding. They left us to die in that water, just like they did in New Orleans. And this time it shouldn't surprise us when nobody knew nothing about it. Not your president, city council, any member of Congress, but I promise if the government points to the majority white populace, you will see a revolution by morning, because white boys don't take to the street. On to the teeth, ready for conflict. If you dare harm a hair on the head of their sons and their daughters, you see how they did out in Oregon. Grab their rifles and loaded them. I know they ain't win, but the point is they wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with the government. Liberty and death, no other alternative. So die like a man and live like a coward. Because armed resistance is the linchpin on which this country was founded. Thomas Jefferson said it best, the tree of liberty from time to time refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I guess fighting the power is patriotic unless your skin is like chocolate because the public despises. But what they've forgotten is that the colonists were revolutionaries. Before before they was found with fathers. Yeah. Hands up, don't shoot, sound like a fucking bag. Young nigga ain't the only woman who lost the check, couple bags. Y'all niggas know the do, trapping the golden news. It's time to show and prove. God's body was hurt too. Nothing deserved food while we robbing still. Listen, always pay attention. Whether you were talking, there's a clock for the mission. Never depend on friends, just they can make sense. Shit got here and they stepped in the abyss. From the darkness, danger, wrong things, and they playing God. Never mind taking the same path. Focus on your task so you can get back to the cash. Break it down, but get the drink and half. Stay out of the box, niggas never go on. Time to go on and on and on. They say, lock your body, don't let them check your mind. There's a target on your back if your skin the color of mine. Yeah, I'm black and I'm proud with my fists out. This for the family locked down, we ain't forget y'all. Baby, lock your body, don't let them check your mind. There's a target on your back if your skin the color of mine. Yeah, black and I'm proud with my fists out. This for the family locked down, we ain't forget y'all. Keep working for liberation, freedom fighting, we need it. Check the limitations, I do this for the meals, real. As the millions incarcerated political prisoners. This song is dedicated to y'all. Hurricanes like who they are, I stand in those short. These are short, they don't turn back now, no detours. Cause fail forward, but still stay the course. How you go ahead if you ain't on the course? This is my life, this ain't just a sports, but of course, we don't play the games with it. Our city different, but the struggle still the same image. I'm trying to go, but they want me to be the same. Nigga, but I refuse to cause my game's bigger. Visions are connected and hieroglyphics. Even for you limits, you have to pay attention. Creating these oppositions. To my mom, we miss you. Fighting with the system, I'm writing y'all this letter that we ain't forget. Lock your body, don't let them check your mind. There's a target on your back if your skin the color of mine. Yeah, black and I'm proud with my fists out. This for the family locked down, we ain't forget y'all. Baby, lock your body, don't let them check your mind. There's a target on your back. Skin color of mine, black and brown with my fists out. This for the family locked down, we ain't forget y'all. I think they hate the people talking real. It's all crazy, watch me smother me. Cooking potatoes, pass me those other things. Cooking up this stuff for my people close to the public feast. Everybody eating, this is EBE, you know. Money making victory, going H without the heat on your arm, those people. That's cheap money, don't need no money. I'm just close to the youth with this music. They need on me for inspiration and power. They better make us so great. Come on, send it to my high spring, it's the other key. There's a lady that gives this river. Don't hold a big one, shoot the pile up in the trash can. Stuck in this matrix playing. Follow the leader, no passion, and no opinion. Don't let them over no radio. This is one a little bit. But I'm just recognizing another lane and taking and watching the boom in this house. I'm still baking, trying to have my cake and eat it too. And here's my situation. Keep it down, I agree. Cause we need the foundation we can build with. Now we build a great vibrant. I wanna be a witness, man, that have a day this. Survive me in the light, and the pull from my face straight to the sky. Now we build a great vibrant. Now we build a great vibrant. I think they love to see me fail for real. But I'm still in the kitchen looking at some cutting mix. Food for with the healthy and pure. No GMOs, just be organic as a bitch. Handle my beer for this foundation, trust me, They chant script and ancestors, they live on speech. So when I speak, you hear they listen, just listen to me. Turn the volume up, but not just a triple stress. I'm hitting chords in every city, we visit the people. Holding up strong, black minds that's meant to be weak. The mountains in the music, I put it over beats. The young guys know it's I keep it so old to the cheap. I call it out the joke, chopping and pushing your thing. It's like a new. It's like a bread, then it's excuses, it has a future. My self-worth is on maximums. It got me feeling like God thinks it'll produce it. Now we build brick by brick, cause we need the foundation to build with. Now we build brick by brick. I wanna be the realest man that ever did this. It's about me and the lie, and the hope of my face right to the side. Now we build brick by brick. Now we're going to break by brick.
Alright, I want to once again say salute to Breaker Foundation. And if you have not copped that CD, go to www.instantlybrick.com and cop that Exodus Revolution double CD. And at this time, Que Butter, y'all know he's doing that Black Empowerment Tour, and he is all over the states. So he's en route. We're just waiting on him to get here. But the Kings have been fantastic. And what they have elected to do, actually I asked them and they said yes, so shout out to them. We're going to have Asa Nori Bey, we're going to have Minister Enqi, and we're going to have KT, the arts degree, come up here and talk a little bit about our health. Watch yourself, Doggie. Yeah, you walk right in front of the camera, man. That's Doggie Diamonds, by the way, the legendary Doggie Diamonds. I know you didn't see the face, you just saw, silhouette in one eye, but you're going to see him because he hosted in a second, all right? So hold on 1 second. We're going to get the Kings up here. And get them situated. Let me move this mic out the way too. Straight is good. Yeah. This is the first time, so y'all got to give us a little break. And if I give you $5 back, best believe this won't be the last time, and it will get better. We just got Info Keys in the building. Salute to the guy. Hold on 1 second.
All right, so we're glad to kick off the first Conscious Olympics, right? The fifth? Okay. What is the first one in the D? Okay. It's the first one with us on it, so this is the official. This is the second first. Right. One more again. Big up to Chief. Right. And what we want to do is make this an ongoing thing. We want to have more family events. I think it's important that we begin to do more things that incorporate lifestyle and culture into what it is that we do. It's one thing to lecture, teach, talk science, etc., etc. It's another thing to allow people to see us living what it is that we talk about. And this year, with the vegan cookout and a couple of other events such as this one, I think it's important that we really bring that out because there are other facets to growth, development, and health than just eating. I know people, when they see us together, they know it's something on health is coming, something scientifically health inclined. But we got to talk about socializing and people's mind states and Marvel birthdays. Community. Community is more than just sciencey stuff. You know, people want to find elements that they can relate to, and you can only do that if people can find out you're human. So situations like that allow all of us to come together so we can talk about more than just one thing. Right. One of the things that we have to do is start doing our own thing, though. And I had an experience, I'm always having an experience, but I had an experience this weekend. We went to a spa, King Spa out in Chicago. And they have the rooms divided, you know, males, females. So me and the boys, we in the jacuzzi area. They got a couple jacuzzis, a big cold pool. So you can't really tell little boys nothing. They in the pool, splashing, throwing water on each other, acting a fool. So the Chinese guy comes over. Shh, shh, shh. You see sign. Sign says quiet, please. No talking, no talking, no talking. Shh. Then he stood over us. You okay? You okay? Shh, no talking. So, you know, later on that night, I take the boys out to the dry sauna area. They're chilling with the girls. So I can go back and really get me some sauna time in. And I just so happened to see 2 or 3 little Korean boys playing with a British boy in the same pool. Splashing wasn't the word. They was throwing each other in, diving, yelling cannonball. I looked over at the same dude that was giving me all those warnings, and he just put his head down to the side. He couldn't even make eye contact. He just, and I said to myself for a second, because you know that little switch clicked, but I had to put myself back in check. I said, no, this is not ours. We gotta have that mind state. It's not ours. They built this for them. We're patrons in their business. So if that was my business, then of course my child can run wild up in there. This is mine. So we gotta understand that, you know, we just gotta focus in on, you know, really taking the ideas that we gravitate to and building institutions around them so that they can really become long-standing culture and lifestyle initiatives that last past us. Because we will pass, you know, and we have to leave the buildings here that keep the health initiatives and the economic initiatives and really bring those things to life. So that's what I think we need to focus in on. Getting KT's input on those things.
Well, no, I definitely agree with that. What I would add to it is the only reason why they would experience something like that is if they were traveling, because most people that just kind of stay within the corrals of a certain area, they never think to go to a sauna or get UV or infrared treatment or, you know, massages, masseuse, or nothing like that. People don't experience things like that on the everyday. The only time those things kind of come into your consciousness is when you start dealing with other groups of people, other cultures, and when you find out what everybody else is doing, you're like, yeah, I think I want to see what that is too.
Now wait, the craziest thing is that inside these spas, there's nothing but gold pyramids, Egyptian statues, and the Egyptian statues are jet black, super jet. I mean, so it's funny, just the dichotomy, you know, the whole irony of how these things play out. You know what I'm saying? And they still look at you crazy. Meanwhile, you sit in a building where they literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars commemorating your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird thing.
I had an experience the other day. Me and my queen went to go get something to eat at this Mediterranean spot. And we went inside and they had it set up kind of like a Chipotle or Moe's. You go in there, they got the glass, you pick things as you go down. we didn't even notice it at first, but we look up at the menu and we're looking at the names of dishes. And we like, wait a minute, Atum, Ra, Thoth, Osiris. Wait a minute, why is that up on those are the meals? And then I look behind me and they got all the deities on the walls. The funny thing is the dishes that were named after our ancestors were all of the fermented dishes though. So everything that was like pickled or like vinegar or spoiled, whatever, however you want to say it, those were the things that was named after our ancestors and they had a big, you know what I mean? So I was like, where that come from? You know?
Yeah. That's a good segue point into the current initiative that I'm pushing, which is Eat Right for Your Haplotype. We did a lecture in Chicago yesterday talking about, the book was supposed to be finished a little while ago, but I'm still working on some things. And we have to realize there are a lot of different groups of people on Earth. Everything that's healthy for everybody is not healthy for you. And right now we're going through a situation where one of the biggest questions I get is, why aren't you guys talking about mental health more? Why aren't you guys dealing with anxiety more? Why aren't you guys dealing with depression more? And my answer is 90% of your neural transmitters, your neural hormones, all of your brain chemistry, it starts in your stomach. So every single time we discuss what you're supposed to eat, we're discussing mental health, because it's impossible for you to have a well-balanced brain chemistry if your brain does not have the raw nutrients it needs to produce those things. It's impossible.
Because what is anxiety? What is depression? What is dementia? What is sadness? Like, what are those? They're just words, you know? But it's like, if I talk to you and I say the word depression, you know what I'm talking about, because you know it's a feeling. Even if you've never suffered for depression, like, you got a good idea of what that would feel like inside. You're like, that's nothing good. I'm not gonna be happy. So that means depression must be like the opposite of happiness, all the way on the other end. So the same way there's things that induce happiness within you, there's things that induce the lack of happiness inside of you too. So the question itself is the problem. When people come up and they ask, why don't you talk about this more? And it's like, that's all we talk about. But it's just that you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand the connection between the two.
Haplotype. Eat right for your haplotype.
Go eat them too.
But no. We just warming up so we can get to the game. But I did lay out how crazy I thought it was, because people, and we get off into these conversations, just the families here now, but how people keep asking questions about this whole eat right for your blood type thing and how people went crazy. And I just went through the three basic cycles of sustenance. And I said, okay, the whole process of water digestion ends in your mitochondria. The whole process of oxygen metabolism ends in your mitochondria. The whole process of breaking down food, proteins, your body breaks down into fats, your body breaks down into sugars, your body breaks down into acids, so they all come down to the Krebs cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, whatever the case may be. So no matter what it is you eat, it ends up in your mitochondria. So then why in the hell would we be listening to somebody tell us eat right for your blood type instead of focusing on your mitochondria, which is where all things end up?
And that's like the one cell that doesn't have a mitochondria.
Facts.
In the first place.
Right. And I said, that's the craziest part, is that red blood cell. Your blood doesn't even have mitochondria. Your blood is a larger scale, fractal model of the electron transport chain. But just to keep the focus, The moment you begin to open that door and have a conversation and say, well, we got to optimize mitochondria, then that circles back around now to haplotypes. And that circles back around to the fact that we, the cattle, the people that prop up the billion-dollar dialysis industry, the trillion-dollar pharmaceutical industry, we don't know what it is that we're doing. So they can't really have that conversation outside of small scientific circles because it'll move a lot of money. It won't get rid of a lot of money because money is going to be there, but it'll move. It'll move a lot of money.
There's a movie called Lucky Number 7. I don't know if anybody ever saw that before. Okay, we got a couple of them over there. That's what's up. Now, in that movie, there was dialogue that occurred where they referred to something called the Kansas City Shuffle. And the Kansas City Shuffle is like, make a lot of commotion over here because there's really stuff going over here. But as long as there's commotion over here, this is where everybody's attention is going to be. No one's going to see what's popping. So like everything that deals with disease and issues and problems, we all focus on the cell, not focusing on the organism inside the cell, because the cell is a byproduct of this organism. So it's almost like dealing with the second instead of dealing with the first. So if you have a problem, you want to deal with the originator. You want to deal with the only person that's going to be able to help the situation. And when you were little, because of course our environment is like an external representation of what goes on inside. But if you hurt yourself when you were little, who would you go to make you feel better? Your mother, right? So then why, when we look at our body, we wouldn't be the same? When we sick, we actually look at man, because that's what our cells are, really. But the mitochondria is the woman, that's the female, that's the mama, and that's the one that's going to make you better. As long as she's popping, the cell is going to be cool. Once you start seeing your cell doing a bunch of stuff and the mama's not, there's a problem going on. Wait, you know what's funny is, and people get mad with me when I challenge long-standing beliefs. And I tell people all the time, too many people are regurgitating what other people taught and brought to the people already. If you're not, the only way I can respect you teaching something that somebody already taught is if you're adding new perspective. Outside that, you need to just leave that alone. Right, we already have that person. So I was talking about the eye of Heru, and I said, you got people wearing these things and they don't really dig in deep enough to really understand what this is. So when you look at the fractions, you say, oh, the 1/2, the 1/4, the 1/8, the 60, 1/64. What you're looking at outside of the musical notes is you're also looking at bacterial cell reproduction. So when you look at bacterial cell reproduction, and for the Kemetic society, a cell was the pool, was the seat of creation. When you realize that there's a bacteria in your cell that's responsible for all of your creation, you have to say to yourself, now, was this an accident or not? They gave you long-standing symbols that would be embedded in your psyche that it's a mnemonic device. So that you would remember the device, you would remember the symbol long after you forgot the science, but it would still be embedded long enough for you to get back to it. And so we just dug in and we talked about how sound becomes light when you use piezoelectric crystals, and the people were looking at me like, okay, where's this relevant to my health? I said, because your bone, your whole skeleton is piezoelectric crystal. So this is what you're doing all day. You're converting sound into light. And then this is what the eye of Heru is really talking about. So anyway, all that'll be in the book, and then we'll have that in reference to the diet. Oh yeah, by the way.
All right. And I just want to ask a couple questions, and my apologies, I ain't looking at the camera, but I don't want to. All right. for a regular person like me that is not on your level as far as education and health, how do you explain things basically for a third grader?
Let a third grader do it. Chase. You know, put you to work. What is and here's my thing. I think it's important though that we really start to get back to the scientific mind with the baby. So I just try to teach them in terms of what these things really are, you know. So give us a breakdown, like what's protein, carbohydrates, like take us to the periodic table real quick for the family.
Which one did you start with?
What?
Hydrogen and oxygen.
So what do we, well, I guess we need oxygen first, and then we need water. Now to eat, what should we add, or what did nature add to water to give us carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables?
Carbon.
So what's a carbohydrate made of?
Carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen.
Now to take that one step further and give us some protein, what's added there?
Nitrogen.
So what's protein?
Nitrogen, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen.
Simple. And we talk about it in the scientific terms, but then we also talk about it in terms that, like, proteins or amino acids, the reason why they're called amino acids is because they were discovered at the temple of Amen. So a lot of times people don't reference that part of these things, and we let some of that, the more important stuff, slip away. And so, you know, I think that's really the thing to understand, is just everybody's different. We all have differences. It's not like, you know, where we come together in these little circles and we prop up melanin so that people can feel good like it's church. And then we see the white folks are recessive and their genetics are no good. You don't know. It's benefits, because every different living thing has a habitat, and they're constructed for their habitat. So with us, we got to understand that our bodies were designed for light first as nutrition. So our body is really designed to convert light into a lot of the things that we need, and then the fruits and vegetables supplement that. That's why we have to eat plants. Plants have aromatic amino acids in them. And without getting too deep, aromatic amino acids are the things that our body uses to absorb sunlight and turn them into nutrition. So without eating the plant, so you got some of these wild guys, like this one dude, he be talking reckless about saving too. Some people all the get slap lips, right? But so he lives out in the jungle somewhere in the woods, and he's like, yeah, well, you just need to eat sunlight. Like, see, this is what happens when you don't really study. Because your body can't process sunlight without eating the plants, so you have the aromatic amino acids, which form the pigments, peptides, etc., that allow our body to capture sunlight and turn it into something usable for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about knowing who we are as a people, dealing with our history as like an elementary level, and then being able to take that the next step further and say, okay, well, what is it that we as a specific people, what makes us different? Because the things that make us different, you know, people don't invest the time and money, but the things that make us different are the things that are crippling us because we don't know. That's what makes us lead America in cancer. That's what makes us lead America in metabolic illness or diabetes and high blood pressure. That's what makes us lead America in autoimmune disease, because we're not taking a look at what makes us different from everybody else. And people that have monetized our weaknesses, they have study groups, laboratories, whole teams that invest millions of dollars into understanding our little weaknesses. And, oh, okay, well, this is, okay, so we all sit down and we all drink apple cider vinegar every day. For some people, that's going to benefit their system. For black folks, that's going to cripple our digestive system. Apple cider vinegar is fungus. Anybody who doesn't believe that, just simply Google it. We all got smartphones. We can all be smart.
You really just ruined my world back there. Like, you don't know how much apple juice I drink.
No, apple juice is good.
Okay.
Apple juice is good. But there's a craze right now, especially where the sisters are running out buying apple cider vinegar like there's no tomorrow because they're trying to lose a few pounds. And I'm like, no, apple cider vinegar is fungus. It's just fungus.
So this is what goes back to the original question, how do we understand this? It's about reciprocation, okay? Golden rule, you don't want to do nobody like you want to be done. You know what I'm saying? Meaning the same thing you want to give somebody, you want to be able to receive and vice versa. Basic concept of that is breathing. That's the thing that keeps you alive. So I'm like, before anybody gets deep, it's like, what keeps you alive? What keeps you healthy? And it's like, you gotta breathe, But where do you get the breath from in the first place? It's like we're so used to it being in abundance, we don't think that it actually is derived from the source. And where is that source that we get our oxygen from? You tell me. There we go. Say it. Plants, right? Plants. Now, do we just take that from plants and leave them with nothing in their pocket? We give them something.
We do.
What do we give them?
And where you buy the plants.
What do them? we talking exchange. If somebody gave you something, you're gonna give them. There we go. What you say?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide.
I'm just gonna step away right now because he's reminding me how stupid I really am.
No, but these are the basics. These are the basics that everybody needs to know. It's like if you know that, like, how long can you go without eating some food? At least 40 days, obviously. Right, 40 days from fast. Well, no, right? Now, how long can you go with drinking water? I mean, you're gonna get dehydrated, but you can go some time, 5 to 8 days, right? How long are you holding your breath? Seconds. So we find out quickly what is most important. And that most important thing is based on the reciprocation of something else. So that thing that I'm dependent on, I might want to put a little bit more attention on it because I don't get oxygen from a cow or from a fish or from a pig or from Skittles or Starbursts or burgers or fries. I get it from plants. And I'm like, wow, the most important thing I need to drive my metabolism, drive my being is a plant, then that needs to be something that I deal with all the time because it got my basic functions down without even thinking about it. Like he wasn't born just for me, he's just here for all of us. You see? So that one thing, being able to look at that gives you just enough to kind of keep your interest, pique your interest. So then you start looking at more things of the plants. Then you say, okay, I get oxygen for the plant. What do I get oxygen for? I need it to breathe. What is breath? What do I use breath for? And it's to liberate, it's to oxidize, it's the last acceptor in order for me to make water and for me to liberate energy inside my body.
Mitochondrial function.
Mitochondrial function. Right? So what do I do for the plant when I give it carbon dioxide? Oh wow, it takes the carbon, it makes food that I eat, that I get minerals out of. Once again, another reciprocal relationship. So when you look at how a plant gets down just through observation, and I look at how I get down on a day by day, getting up with the sun, going to sleep when the sun goes down, that gives me just a basic foundation of what's necessary for my health. Then when I hear people like Minister Enqi speaking and going a little deeper, I got a foundation to stand on because of my observations of myself and the environment that I'm in.
That was perfect right there. And I do want to say one thing, like his son is why we're doing the conscious awareness. And not him personally, because he's clearly brilliant. But so that our kids can come up with that type of intellect. And they can search it out and they can be proud of it. Like it's horrible now that, like if you're an intelligent kid that's not appreciated in our school system. You know, and when they come home and they get that wealth of knowledge, they can go to school and withstand the ignorance that's thrown at them because they have that knowledge. And my next question would be, I don't sleep well at all, maybe 4 hours a night. And I know it's like KT, I saw you when you were in London, you went live. The food looked delicious. I'm not even close to a vegan. But even I was looking at the stream salad menu. As far as nutritional intake, what can I take that would help me sleep better at night?
One of the main issues we have when we have a problem is we always think that something needs to be taken, when sometimes it's what you need to let go of. You see what I'm saying? There's two different things.
I definitely get that.
And I'll give you an example. I got a client that was like having a cough issue. She was like taking, you know, everything, was going over everything, and it turned out being an environmental issue rather than a food issue. You see what I'm saying? Lots of times when people aren't sleeping well, it's because sleep is not what we think it is. It's just not the time you just pass out on the bed and it's a cousin of death and it's not worth nothing. You know, you're lazy because you slept for 8-9 hours. No, like we need to rest, because there's a reason why we are extrapolating so much light during the day. Because at nighttime we need to process all of that night in the darkness. And we do that when we sleep. But if your body thinks that it's day all the time, then when will it ever be able to relax to the point that it can actually get sleep? And one of the greatest examples of that is one of these puppies right here. These screens, like if it's like 12 o'clock at midnight and I look at this screen, my body thinks it's noon. Because how much do we know it's daytime? Because of our eyes, right? We see where the sun is in the sky. We see how people are moving around in their day. That information processing comes in our body. It lets our body know what time it is. It lets me know what I need to do with inside mitochondria, you know, right? But if I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning texting, or I'm on a computer, my body thinks it's noon 4 or 5 times a day, making things at times it don't need to. Like if you go to a restaurant, they got a breakfast, lunch, dinner menu, and you go at 8 p.m. and they bring you pancakes, you'll be like, bro, I mean, I can eat them. Actually, they got that now. No, they definitely do. They call them crepes, right? Yeah.
But no, I tell people, fake it till you make it sometimes, you know, in terms of your sleep. You know, go home at night and do, even if you can't sleep the full night through, turn off all the lights. Turn off the lights. Turn off the phone. If you can't turn it off because of your business, flip it upside down so the light's not in the room. If possible, turn off or unplug your modem. Like you need to be in absolute darkness. When we look in the mirror, it looks like we have one pigment in our eye, but we actually have a bunch of different pigments to grab different parts of the spectrum. So the blue light that's coming off of these things,
that's the boogeyman that we all scared of under the bed as kids.
right?
That's
blue light.
The blue light is that boogeyman that gets us when we in the bed, tearing us up.
And that responds directly from your eye to your pituitary gland. And it tells you to wake up, growth hormone, all that kind of stuff, but it blows out. So you have a lot of people that are dealing with, like men, they have erectile dysfunction because the pituitary gland is overused. And they're looking at every problem possible, but they don't realize it's the blue light. Women aren't getting engorgement, meaning the fluids aren't rushing in. Because of the poor diet, we're not getting tryptophan in the diet. Tryptophan is one of those aromatic amino acids, and in your digestive system, we convert that to serotonin. The pineal gland then turns the serotonin into melatonin. Melatonin, your pineal gland secretes. when it gets a signal from your mitochondria, letting your body know when it's time to go to sleep. So for instance, we hear about ATP. ATP is the energy. So like he was breaking down how protein is nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. All you do is replace the carbon with phosphorus, the light-bearing element, and now you have ATP. As our body uses the ATP, mitochondria tries its best to recycle it. When it can no longer recycle the ATP fast enough, the adenosine serves as a vasodilator and sends a signal to your brain and says it's time to go to sleep. We need melatonin. So this is where your signal, everything comes from that mitochondria. That's the center of our...
It's mama, it's the universe.
That's right.
And all the information we know is because of a mother, Henrietta Lacks, who was sacrificed in order for all of this biology to be possible.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So even when we talk this science is by way of woman, and then out of it we talk about the mitochondria, which, and the reason why we keep saying mama, for those that don't know, mitochondria only pass nature linearly. Meaning you only get it from your mom. And that's a way for a certain genome or genetic structure to keep from being mutated and stay preserved. So all of us have the mitochondria of our mothers. The father's mitochondria gets sacrificed during the moment of conception. Now, he keeps bringing up aromatic rings. Aromatic rings I have on my shirt. It's the new logo of Spider-Man. People think it's a spider. It's not a spider. It's an aromatic ring. Because Peter Parker's a chemist. He's a scientist. And the only reason why Spider-Man is Spider-Man is because of the sacrifice of his uncle, which is called Uncle,
or a benzene ring.
Exactly, Uncle Benzene, which is the most stable carbon ring structure. Aromatic structures or photon traps, they capture light. You know what I'm saying? So they're very, very important. And the amino acids that are used to make melanins are the aromatic rings, phenylalanine, tyrosine, and then tryptophan, as I said, the serotonin and the melatonin. So he was bringing up the pituitary gland. The leptin receptor is connected to the pituitary gland, and leptin is what you use in order to understand that you're satisfied. Okay, I'm eating my Philly cheesesteak sandwich, then I'm eating my chicken fried rice, then I'm eating me some ice cream, then I want some nachos, then I want a milkshake, and I'm not full yet. Leptin receptor don't work no more. And it don't work no more because you keep going to bed with blue lights everywhere and it's just frying it. You see what I'm saying? So it affects you during the day.
I don't want my wife to hear that, okay?
Well, no, listen, women
are be pitch black tonight.
Women are crazy with the especially when pregnant. They sit the laptop right on their lap while pregnant. And then the baby's whole neurological system is thrown off, and then you go see the white jackets, and they're like, well, we don't know the cause, man, but you go ahead and try that on you and the baby for a few months and see what.
The shot. That's it. They ain't gonna say take this. They can be like, oh, we gotta give them the shot.
Right.
Protect them.
Right. Yeah. We'll protect them for these chemicals.
Because.
So it gets crazy. We as humans, we have a certain level of arrogance, where we think that we're supposed to just do anything because we can. You know, we're supposed to live anywhere because we can. Like we can take a plane and go there, and we got money, so we can live there. No. Your bloodline, your haplotype, your physiology dictates that your body belongs in a certain habitat. Even amongst vegans and vegetarians, they don't like me to say this. They be getting angry with me. They be sick too. They got diabetes and cancer because they don't know what they're doing. And they watching people on YouTube who aren't really doing anything but watching other people on YouTube regurgitating and remixing, so they don't really know. There's no natural carnivore, meat eater, that eats every type of meat except the bottom feeders. There's no natural herbivore that eats every plant. They have a set group of things that they eat that maximizes how their body functions. And the reason why I was talking about the book is because in the book I go into the fact that the differences come down to the mitochondria, how your respiratory proteins are coupled, and how your body's able to translate light into what you need. And so your diet is supposed to supplement that. So people that are polar people that are born, their bloodlines, not like where you particularly from, like I'm from the Bronx,
Right.
where your bloodline is from. Polar haplotypes, they can't translate that much solar energy. So they need more electrons, electricity in their diet. And that doesn't come from where people would commonly think based on what they see on YouTube. They say, where's the most electricity in the food? They're like, oh, fruits and vegetables. No, fat has the most electrons in it per gram.
And before you, we're not going to take up too much of their time.
Are we going to get into the consequences?
I want to make sure that y'all go buy his book and y'all check out everything that KT got going on. So I want y'all to let people know how to get in contact with you, how to purchase your products. Basically, give yourself some plugs.
All right. Well, we got some of the products on the back table. Outside of that, I'm local in the D. Y'all can hit my phone. We don't have to do too much Hollywood stuff. 702-845-9814. The website is 40dayfoodfast.com. Yeah.
Yes, I don't really have much of my stuff today, but I do have my cards, so I can get some cards out to everybody that has all my information on it. But if y'all write anything,
There we go. There we go. So I'm KT the Arts Degree. So you would put that on YouTube or Instagram, Kamani Tate on Facebook, and then KT the Arts Degree is the website as well. Just click www.report. And lastly, what am I leaving out? Just got back from London, got 2 powerful lectures. I did it over there, 4 hours a piece. They're wrapped up this weekend, so if anybody's interested in getting a copy of those, just let me know. Like I said, I got the cards, so I can give it out to everybody, so y'all can stay in contact. And I'm also here in the D as well.
Hey, did we bring any of the books that me and KT wrote together? Okay, yeah, last year we wrote a book together to commemorate Sabi's passing. And we did a little tour. So I actually have those books. If not here, y'all can hit me up. And
it's a great primer for mitochondria. So with all the mitochondria we've been talking, there's a lot of good information on there on the mitochondria to kind of get you up to speed so you get a better idea of what we're talking about.
And it talks about the link between melanin and mitochondria. So
we're going to be at the African World Festival in the next couple weeks, 18th through the 20th. I know if you're in Detroit, you're going to be down there, so we'll definitely be down there. We'll be joined by Asa as well. So,
Asa, you want to come up and let people see how you look? Asa be
come on, Asa.
Asa be pretending like you got warrants and
birthday coming up, brother.
And just so you know why he's walking up here, this is the first time that we ever did a live stream event. I set the event to stop at 6 p.m. I know you're going to inbox me, cussing me out. We're going to edit the footage, and I will make sure if you inbox me that you will get that footage so that you can see the Conscious Olympics in its entirety. And I do apologize. Rome wasn't built in a day, nor was any other city. And we'll definitely learn and grow from this. And my fault, kid. Go ahead.
Peace, everybody. My name is Asa Bey. You can find me here at the same location every first and third Sunday. Sometimes you'll be seeing these 2 brothers right here spill out their minds like they did today. But we put together an event called Solar Power Sundays, where we teach and remind people just to keep their perspective in the proper place when it comes to our people these days in times Wayne and all of that. That's the white man and all that kind of angry stuff like we used to see back in the day. A little more subtle and intelligent. Just saying F the parasites and all the things that's inside of you. Seriously, because a lot of people be pointing their fingers, but we gotta dig back inside and tweak ourselves. So that's what we do. And how much to the sun.
Y'all want to speak any last words? Because I want to get the young king Nolaj up here. He's going to do a couple of songs for us. The brother is fire, and if you're not up on him, you will be after he does his songs.
We wanted to thank you for putting this event together. Yeah, and what you bring to the
Appreciate it. gonna keep it a stack. I don't find too many people on this planet that inspire me to be better, and Keith definitely does.
We got a cut piece.
Chief, you wanna just come on, Chief. Chief, I'll come get you. Come on. Right, Chief is dangerous.
Yeah.
Say a couple words.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
Talk about the light that just got dimmed in the deep.
Peace, everybody. My name is Keith. What he's referring to is the death of my instructor.
Scoot over a little bit, Keith. Scoot over a little bit. I want to make sure everybody get a credit view of Keith Thornton.
So what he's referring to is the death of my instructor. He was brutally murdered last week. I've been with him for 17 years. And, you know, it's definitely a negative event for the city and for me myself. I'll never get over that. So, you know, I just try to help as much as possible given the circumstances and just do what I can. But like I said, I never get over that, you know.
We appreciate you so much, Keith, because Keith has been behind the scenes. Keith and Asa are behind the scenes guys. They like to facilitate and not really. And in today's social media era, if you're not in front of the camera, obviously you have nothing popping. So sometimes we have to pull folks from behind the camera in front of the camera so they can get their just due. But for years, a lot of the conscious events and video coming out of Detroit, Keith has been associated with in one way, shape, form, or fashion. So we definitely just want to big up Keith and all he's doing. And then at some point, we know you're going to succeed and keep what was already in place. So you're the next guy now.
Just one word.
Mr. Humble and Modest. But definitely we want to support and thank Keith and the family at this time. So at this point, come on, guys.
And at this time, we're going to bring the young brother Nolaj up to the stage. And after his set is done, we're going to get started with the Conscious Olympics. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't think anybody would show up for something they never heard of. I want to salute everybody that came out, everybody that bought the live stream. It's humbling. And without further ado, are you in the building, Nolaj? You back there? All right. So apparently I'm just sitting here and, I don't know, look stupid, I guess. I'm pretty good at that. And let me see. I think we've done the Conscious Olympics twice on the radio show. We had one in Baltimore last year. I can stop my rounder. We got the young king. You ready, bro? All right. Without further ado, it's the young king Nolaj.
Peace, everybody. My name is Nolaj. From Detroit. Now I spell Nolaj N-O-L-A-J. My real name is Jalan. I just spell my name backwards. Pronounce it Nolaj. I'm gonna do a couple of joints for y'all. This first one called Flint Water. I wrote this as soon as the crisis happened, and it's still relevant. So we can get right into Flint Water. Can I get the chord? So I want this one. Shout out to Giles, man. Shout out to the brothers for dropping all them jewels, man. I was over there soaking it up. About the health and all that, man. That's real big. Hey, running back for me, warm up. Now that was the Queens. I need that McJenkins, that Flint Water. I'm gonna try to, I know I'm hella loud on the mic. No, the other one first. So this is called Flint Water again. You know, talking about something. I don't do too much jumping around. Can I get a little bit more volume? I'm gonna try to keep my voice down to the music. Can you do it better? One more time. I just want to, okay, can you, I just need you to run it back for me one time. Okay. Spoken word piece before I get started. Flint water. Here we go again. Another current event, another catastrophe. We change profile pics while they kill us off casually. I find myself asking me, is it worth it? Rapping about what's happening, but it's getting drowned out by trap music. Now that I know better, I find it hard for me to act stupid. Flint water, faucet water, poison sons and daughters. Life gets harder and harder. What we gonna do about it? I'm really about that life. I'm just trying to see if you about it. Flint, Michigan, I hope you're listening. This year is called Flint water. Yo. Set. Had to call this joint Flint water. Pray for you, but I could have went harder. Government trying to take us all out. Black people got to start getting smarter. First off, recognize me a war. If you need knowledge, then mess with your boy. One thing about it, I don't know it all, but I know Flint 45 minutes from Detroit. And it's kind of close to me to really think about it. Turn across the I'm trying to get a drink about it. Only thought going through my head is the bed. Little boys and girls can't get up out of bed. It's so crazy. Talking them your stuff. Get your babies, get your stuff. Don't be lazy. Mama live on 8 Mile, but I ain't shady, no. It's not a movie, nor is it Halloween, but it's spooky. Life hit me out the blue. It's like nobody introduced me. I was in Louisiana, bumping a little Boosie when it hit me. Now I'm on the West Coast on the Nipsey. No matter how much moving around I do, I gotta come back home to my city, close to that Flint water. That Flint water. I'm trying to stick around and see my daughter have a daughter, talking granddaughter, dog. I'm going granddaddy, perp, thinking about some old stuff. Like, go your ass to the back of the bus, so that water fountain thing for us. Some old stuff. Like, I ain't the one to get blown with. I'm on the Kendrick and cold tip. Left my hair after the club and everything's old shit. Matter of fact, my old shit, queens only, spiritual things only, dreams only come true when you act only. Since Black History Month, I said, hey, might as well go ahead and have a black moment, yeah. Power to the people, put your fist up. See the queen get the locks retwist up. See my dog twist up, but one time. Burn one with your dog while I'm in town. California sunshine in the wintertime. Down me the damn thing to a Flintstone. When you're running in the whip with the flow gone. Backwoods knock me back out the ozone. I know I'm a co-individual. These flows is vitamins and minerals. I spit to wake people up. Come together not to break people up. You and ITY is the only answer. Fight from the inside out to kill cancer. We still kill. We ain't gotta go to the doctor. Hold that money. Why are we spending our dollars? So much power in our dollars. So much power in our soul. Black people, we out cold. Most of us don't even know. That was Flint water. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm trying to level up to the music so y'all can hear me and the beat. We working it out. Before we do the Queens, I just want to do another piece I did. So this piece called Freeform, this spoken word piece. I said, speaking on freeform locks and this beautiful black skin I'm in, speaking on how I dominate everything I put my mind to. I offend these people even when I ain't trying to. I see what it is. I see the attack on the kids. Wasn't done in it the last 10 times I checked, but I still look back in the fridge. High hopes. Trump and Hillary got me feeling like, why vote? Like, damn, white man, why you so scandalous? Wait, Trump and Hillary got me feeling like, why vote? Like, why y'all playing with us? Like, damn, white man, why do you so scandalous? Like, damn, black man, how do we so conscious and we still can't figure it out? Can't die with the knowledge still inside me, bro. I gotta get it out. Can't spit it on tracks and not live it out, bro. You a hypocrite. You really gotta live this. Introspection help you see where your spirit at. Gotta go in to come out. Gotta go in to come out. Gotta go inside yourself to come up out of this matrix. Be looking at the fridge one more time. I'm still engaged. Forget the fast food. I need food for the soul. It's like the soul leave the body once they start playing with their nose. That heroin ain't no joke. That crack ain't no joke. Being black ain't no joke if you know what come with it. Learn about your ancestors and run with it. That demonic spirit can't live when the sun hit it. That was free from all. Remember as I go, man. Last but not least, man, I'm in here with the queen. She, you know, we promote her brand. She do respect the queens, you know. So if y'all ever see those shirts out here, that's my queen over there with my baby. And this next joint is actually called Queens, you know, just giving it up to all the women. I was raised by my grandma and my mom, you know what I'm saying? So I got the utmost respect. And yeah, it's called Queens. So to get into that last one. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. Oh, you're so beautiful. What I mean, like you beautiful, that melanin looking good. Live in Los Angeles, where she from Hollywood. Hey, let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. This was for all the single mothers that raise kings. I know you don't want nothing more than to have a king. A solid black man, we can do this shit as a team. Hey, sun and the moon, we dancing around the world. This was for my daughter, yeah, this was my baby girl. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. You can turn the ugly nightmare into a beautiful dream. You can turn the ugly nightmare into a beautiful dream. You got God and you black woman, you everything. I feel like our connection go deeper than wedding rings. Connected by the soul, yeah, this is forever thing. I'm up with J. Cole, number 12, that love yours. Giving this to my queen, cause giving open the doors. If you ain't open, you can't receive. Yeah, and if you focus, you may be deceived. Yeah. I know you open, I know you focus, I know you vibe, and it's that connection where everything just be in alignment. It's that connection that's deeper than the physical, baby. We got that infinite spirit, yeah, I'm spiritual, baby. Take a minute to kick it with the queens. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. Let me just take a minute to kick it with you. Yeah, let me just take a minute to kick it with you. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Let me just take a minute to kick it with the queens. Unapologetically African human beings. Mother of us all, no matter your skin color. Vibe off the wall like Michael Jackson. I love you, baby. Let me just take a minute to kick it with you. Make sure that fly numbers I'm living with you. Make sure that bird fly, don't keep it caged in. I was keeping it quiet, but we gave in. I couldn't keep it inside, gotta let the world know. She the creator of life, and that's why my girl cold. That feminine energy got me in places I never been. Make it easy to see the little boy in a grown man. I'm more than a grown man, I'm a king, but I need you. It was us on that Avatar movie, baby, I see you. A matrilineal, your way of life just feel right. I think you can make us all come together like real time. I think the media don't tell us the truth, they just lie to us. And 85% of humanity blind to it. I'm saying that's why the universe sent me to give you vision. Trying to tell my homegirl this shit, but she wouldn't listen. And trying to come up like I'm a saint, because I ain't perfect, but I'm deeper than the surface. Doing my soul searching, I do everything on purpose. None of this by mistake. You a masterpiece, galaxy, baby. You out of space, you a queen. That was just for all the women, you know what I'm saying? Kick it with the queen. Peace and love, man. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Job. Everybody that has something to do with this. Once again, my name Nolaj. Y'all can keep up with me on social media, Nolaj. Nolaj Music, and stick around. We'll probably take a kick, man. Peace and love.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna play a couple of more break joints, just so I can arrange the chairs and the tables, and then we're gonna jump off into the conscious Olympics. All right, so enjoy the music. Break if you're watching. Again, congratulations to you and the Queen. Shout out to Kennedy. And we'll be right back in a second. I'm going to listen to some break. My bad.
Beyonce do, like, that's what's important. To be honest, I'm disappointed, but I'm not here to pass the conscience that we have better priorities. Gods and goddesses ought not be caught up in celebrity gossip, while kids in Flint got to shower in water with metal deposits. It's not uncommon for them people to put lead in our bodies, but they switch their MO. They usually use pistols. This time they did it with faucets. Either way, the end result is coffins for our sons and daughters. It's a genocide in progress, and they won't stop till they kill all us. It's obvious. The system's incredibly biased. Otherwise, Snyder would be already indicted, facing federal charges if they practice equality. He wouldn't be holding state office. He'd be selling some Kwame. Lord knows if the culprit's name is Muhammad, he'd already be in Guantanamo, being denied his right to counsel and being waterboarded for hours by CIA operatives until they named his accomplices. But this unjust political system of ours allows elected officials the power to make American cities resemble Rwanda. The only consequences to offer public apologies is it irony or hypocrisy that Michigan's governing bodies told their constituents then pass laws against sodomy. They put lead in the water, then doubled the charges without a conflict of conscience, because manslaughter isn't a problem as long as it's profitable. They want us dead as quickly as possible. They ain't even hiding. They left us to die in that water, just like they did in New Orleans. And this time it shouldn't surprise us when nobody knew nothing about it. Not your president, city council, any member of Congress, but I promise if the government boards the majority by populace, you will see a revolution by morning. Because white boys gonna take to the street, armed to the teeth, ready for conflict. If you dare harm a hair on the head of their sons or their daughters, you see how they did out in Oregon. Grab their rifles and loaded them. I know they ain't win, but the point is they wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with the government. Liberty and death, know what the alternative. So die like a man and live like a coward. Because all resistance is the linchpin on which this country was founded. Thomas Jefferson said it best, the tree of liberty from time to time refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I guess fighting the power is patriotic unless your skin is like chocolate because the public despises. But what they forgotten is that the colonists were revolutionaries before they was found as fathers.
Everybody ready? And we tried you. I know you're on the road, bro. We did the best that we could, man. We tried to hold off as long as possible because I definitely wanted the king to be able to participate. Man, I feel bad, but I know how it is when you go on a tour. It doesn't always go exactly as you planned it, and you got to make the moves and you got to make the adjustments. So I do apologize. But we got to get started. We only got the venue for so long, okay? So give me 1 second. Everybody ready? Yeah. And I know we had somebody that was going to participate in place of Que Butter. Is that correct? Yep, you got it. All right. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you the legend, New York's finest, the interview king. And if you have met the brother Doggie Diamonds, then you know what I'm talking about. There's no filter. It's all real. And it's all black. Without further ado, Doggie Diamonds. Welcome to the conference of women.
What's up, everybody? Let's get ready to do it. It's children in here, so I'm not going to say how I feel about Spirit Airlines, but they wasn't all that kind to us. So, but we're here, we made it. So, Conscious Olympics, I guess it's an hour game show. I'm not going to be no coon like Steve Harvey today, so if you're looking for cooning, I don't do that. See the shirt, for real. And, that's what we doing here. So I got a few questions here, and we gonna see who wins. So you ready to bring the contestants up? Yep. Okay. So contestants, come on up. I don't have the Price is Right music, so I can't say come on down or nothing like that. Y'all two don't sit next to each other too. Right? Y'all on opposite sides. Just split them up. There we go. No, we have a cheat sheet.
want y'all to do those, everybody. Is it a microphone for everybody? How we doing?
You know what? My bad. Yeah, one for the table, we're gonna have one for the table.
Okay, so,
What I also want to explain, we didn't get the buzzers made, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with KT, we're going to go to the Queen, and then we're going to go to Asa, and then we're going to Minister Enqi. If KT gets the question wrong, it goes to the Queen, and all the way around. And you just say pass. You get 30 seconds to answer.
is it a point system? Who's holding the point?
10 points.
You got that?
I got the points.
Okay.
I threw the 8 pin. I forgot to bring that. I got 30 in my car, so that won't be a problem.
Right there.
Is Google searching legal?
Yes.
No phones, no computers, no help, no assistance, nothing. Let me get this too, bro. I know what's in there. At the end of the game, we do have Afi. She's made a phenomenal trophy for us, and you win $500. So without further ado, let the games begin.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. We'll start with KT. So this is what we should do. We should start with KT, and then we'll do it for the next question. We'll go the opposite. You understand what I'm saying? So KT will get first. So we'll make sure everybody get the chance to answer the question first. You know what I'm saying? So, you ready? You ready? So you got the microphone. Born in Jamaica in 1887, the dog went on to start a movement that has never been seen and hasn't been duplicated. You hear it? You listen?
Yeah.
You can answer. If you know, you can answer.
Marcus Garvey.
You got it. 10 points for KT. Keep the score? All right. That wasn't fair, right? It was the year, right? Oh, yeah. It was the year, right? That's what that was. Okay. All right, ready? First athlete to make all-star teams in the NFL, the Major League Baseball in the same season. You want to apply?
Is it Sam?
Nope, that would be wrong.
Deion Sanders.
You're wrong too. It ain't them. You don't know it? Bo Jackson. Bo, no. Oh, my bad. See, I forgot it's supposed to go to him, so he don't get no points. That's my fault. I get those points. I'm trying to win that 5 minutes. Give me those
Who was Bo? But I kept saying up there.
Bo.
Here we go, yo. I don't remember anything. Here we go, yo.
All right, so that's my bad, but still, you still get those points. All right, so let's start over here. Let's start with Enqi this time. So we'll go back around this way. You ready? This genius spoke up and spoke out. His literary accomplishments include Go Tell It on the Mountain, Giovanni's Ruin, and Notes of a Native Son. Who is he? You want to talk?
Amos Wilson.
That would be incorrect. The microphone works.
James Baldwin.
That would be correct. 10 points for him. And it's on you now, too, so. This is like something you would know, too. And you would know. Genetic engineering usually utilizes cells and plasmids of. That was your go.
I don't know.
All right, so now we go this way.
Pass.
KT?
Bacteria.
That's correct. You don't go outside or something like that, right? You don't watch TV. So he's at 20 points. You got 10. You twisted. You don't got no. And I got 10 because I got that. All right. So we did y'all too, so now we'll start with you, right? He invented or improved a bed keg tap, automobile directional signs, and he even created a drafting machine for blind designers. What is this king's name?
Pass.
It's on KT.
Richard Spice.
That is correct. Yo, remember we did a YouTube video, you were at 500. All right, so we started with you, so now it's back on KT. Right? This one string African instrument, similar to the fiddle, uses snakeskin to cover this one string African instrument, similar to the fiddle, uses snakeskin to cover a gourd bound with horsehair strings suspended on a bridge. It is played like a bow.
So who?
That would be incorrect. So now we will go this way, right?
What is Mama Thomas?
You don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
Hold on, Doggie.
What happened?
If somebody in the crowd knows this answer in 5 seconds, I can say no.
Uh-oh. Repeat it. Remember, I had to hook on 5 seconds, so let me do this.
Let's skip that one.
Said skip it? Y'all heard it? All right, they just don't know. It's G-O-J-E. Whatever that is. Go, G. G-O-J-E. I see. That was too black. All right. Start dealing with instruments, you know, keyboards and drum machines. So who we on now? Who we up to? You now, okay. Who popularized the term Black Power? You don't know this, you gotta get up. Facts.
Sonetta.
Get out of here, period.
James Brown.
Absolutely not. That table, y'all on my list. So who popularized the term Black Power? No cheating.
Huey Newton.
Not at all. It's on you. You don't know it? You say who?
Black Panthers.
That's a person.
Oh.
Who popular? But let's give her the 10 points because it's actually Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture. He was a member of Black Panthers. So we'll give it to her. Let her get that. She was posted, he said Salvetta, so you know. But he was playing good too though. All right, so who we on? This king wrote The Vulture, published in 1970, but is more known for his classic song, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Who is he?
I'm gonna have to go to my distant uncle, Gil Scott.
Absolutely correct.
My family would have crucified me. That's actually my uncle.
They're gonna crucify you, and I know that Black Power thing too. Oh wow, this is a deep one. Who's it on? I'm supposed to be keeping track of this. So we'll start with you because you might not know this, but it'll be all right. What sister created the permanent hair weave machine? See, that's what it is. Right? Okay. You should know that though.
Madam teacher.
KT, no, look at his head.
Majority Stewart Joyner.
Absolutely correct. How the hell you know that? You got a weave before?
Marjorie.
So I should penalize you for saying majority. I just said it's like,
Motto. You say something. Deduct 5 points.
all right. So we on you now, right? I'm a painter. This is like tailor-made for you. This is what I fit. I bet you I need to get through the question before you answer. Enzymes, which are required to cut a source DNA molecule into small pieces and to cut the plasmid to make a gap where foreign DNA fits into our
Restriction enzymes.
See, I told you. Game is real. We did that. We did that on YouTube. Ready? Enqi. This queen was the first black person in the U.S. to publish a book of poems.
Who is Antonio?
Who? He has no idea. It's on you, bro.
It was weekly.
Absolutely correct. So could we get a score? Like, could you tell everybody their score so they could like pick it up because see who's losing? We got a few more questions to go. What's everybody's score?
I got KT at 50, Oscar at 20, Enqi at 20 at 10.
Struggling. We got 50.
We're supposed to penalize him at least 5.
All right. So now we're gonna do, yeah, right? We did just did it. Okay. This is the question number 12. Name the first brother to win a gold for the U.S. at the World Fencing Championships.
Really, guys?
I'm going to skip this myself. You want to go? Yeah, you can get 30 seconds up. Robert had it, that's an emphatic no. Okay, we will go this way. Okay, KT.
Peter Westbrook.
Absolutely not.
Who is
Ben Bratton, whoever that is. Ben Bratton. Yeah, he was wild. Okay, now it's on you. This king founded the Chicago Defender, one of the most influential black newspapers ever. So, we just don't want the man. Who? The fight? No. The king, this individual, the final call is a newspaper. What are we doing again? This king founded the Chicago Defender, one of the most influential black newspapers ever. So this is a person, okay?
Yeah.
Just go, KT. Just go.
Robert Allen.
Damn, that's right. He got something written on his hand over there, something. All right, KT is on you. Let's give him the points right now. Which brothers founded the Black Panther Party? Let's give them.
Bobby Seale, Huey.
Just give him the points. He got like a bump now or something like that. What do you got, right? Like, what points you got? Which points do KT have?
7.
Struggle. All right. It's on you, Enqi. You need these points, man. You smiling, but you struggling.
I'm hungry.
All right, word. 500? You ain't. Then you have a cheat sheet? And you had a cheat sheet too today.
No, Honest Jackson told the ref right before we started, oh, this is my cheat sheet right there.
Like, you write that down for the table.
Here we go.
Everybody got the same one.
He was one of, if not the greatest, modern dance pioneers and choreographers. He also founded a dance theater named after himself. Name it.
That could be a couple of brothers.
But there's only one of them.
Fred Astaire?
Fred Astaire Live? This is the conscious show. What's conscious about Fred Astaire?
Like Fred.
Take 10 away from him now. He moves 10. I think you don't want that money.
Is that Alvin Ailey?
That would be correct. You know Alvin Ailey? He said Fred. It's on you. Right? Just, yeah, that was on you. Yeah, it's on you. I don't know the answer, I don't know how to pronounce it, but this centuries-old African game is played with 2 sticks, one for the defense, and the other one for offense. The groin and behind the ears are out of bounds. Bro, what you doing? You got kids in here. The groin and behind the ears are out of bounds, but everywhere else is fair game to strike, with 5 points being rewarded for each strike. Name this game.
Pass.
Okay.
That's the.
I said, dude, yeah.
Intonga. INTONGA or NTONGA.
Linton.
Well, yeah, I guess it's.
But that's close enough. Give them points. Yeah, let's go. Just like, well, how you running? I'm starting to try to picture a childhood here. Who knows that childhood?
Chief wrote the question.
I was drinking 40s and stuff like that. Like, how do you know that? So who are you on now? It's on you. No, it's on you. The first question, you had the first, no. You just did. Now it's on you. The first question now is on you. It's a woman too, so you gotta stand up for the women. You might have to know this. All right. Quoted as saying, art hurts voyages, and it is easier to stay at home. This queen, meaning woman, this queen was also the first sister to be a poetry consultant to the Library of Congress. Who is it? Now, don't let them down.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to let you know. It has.
When it looks.
Hey, that was gonna be cursed. Yeah, that's right. Regardless, he got 10 points. KT. Yeah, like 400 or something like that. He's running away with Q Butter in the house.
Peace to God.
All right, so now we on you, right? All right. And then we go here. Name the brother who invented a device used for tabulation as well as a tallying machine.
Robert Pelham Jr.
That's correct.
Correct.
That is correct.
You got children? You got children? They got big brains, right? Like this. Whoa. All right, Enqi, it's on you now. I'm starting to root for you. I'm starting to feel bad.
We got this.
All right.
For the team.
You gotta know this. This is like a karma. The champion of African, well, let me say that again. This champion of African liberation won the first ever Black Power Music Award for his classic Hymns of the World.
Sean Carter.
Absolutely not. You know, he just put the mic down. It's on you. Go ahead. Say it in the mic. Say it in the mic.
I hear RBG, man.
Absolutely correct. One y'all gotta call him a ringer or something like that. He was running away with the game. So, it's on you now. What was the first rule of the Black Panthers 10-point plan? You could lose your black card for this. You already escaped. You escaped. You ain't know the other one. You're going back Black Panthery again. You struggle. You have to take that hat off, unlock the dreads, all that. Unlock them.
I might have to pass on this.
You said who or what?
I might have to pass.
Rooting for you. was the first rule of the Black Panthers Party 10-point plan? The first rule.
Keep the money in the community.
Who, what?
Keep the money in the community.
Absolutely not. It's on you, KT.
We want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community.
I cursed in front of the kids. See what you made me do? That's absolutely correct. Y'all still want to play?
Yes, to the wire.
We're doing this to the people now, but we already know who the winner is. All right.
To the wire.
So, for what I'm looking at, it's 55 questions. We're on question 21, everybody. So we still have a few more to go. My arithmetic is a little off right now, you know, but there's a few more to go. And can we get a score check here? So we give them some emphasis. You don't even matter the score, right? That thing over. All right, so we're on this side of this side. All right, Enqi. Who was the first president of the Republic of New Africa?
Oh, Nelson Mandela.
Absolutely not. Who was the first president of the Republic of New Africa?
Robert.
You looking for It's a lot of Roberts.
Robert Williams.
That's correct.
Cool.
It was Robert F. Williams, but you know. Once he didn't say Robert E. Lee or nothing like that, he's good. But give him the 10 points. And it's on you. This is one Enqi will probably know, but just good luck on you. DNA molecules into what gene is inserted to construct a what's that word right there?
Recombinant.
That DNA molecule is.
Might have to pass it to Stacey.
It's on you. Go ahead, KT.
Clonal vector.
He got it. See, look at the draw. You can do that, right?
I got one scientific question.
He was his friend. KT got the points. All right. So we're back on this side. This might be one that you know, right? This brother published this phenomenal book, Black Fire, in 1968. Who is he? He's gonna pass the mic like the youngsters and just. It's on KT.
Gary Baraka.
Gary Baraka it is.
At this point, bro, you don't have to make it.
We can declare the winner, but KT ain't, Enqi ain't ready to give up. Look at his face. See, that's just sweat. That's a determined man right there.
It's on.
He has children in the way. He can't lose it from
It's on.
All right. But let's get a score though. Let's let them know where they at.
Can we get Q Butter in also at the table? Come on, Q Butter. You can squeeze in right here. It's all right. We got the first 20 wrong.
But let's get a score check. Yeah, we did 21 questions already. No, 31.
Bring it in.
We'll give Q Butter this one, right? No, we're gonna give this one because you're a music producer. This is kind of producery. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know this one right here, Q Butter, you gotta go back and
Producery.
Yeah, it's kind of producery. Okay, Q, so you can split. You can take my points.
Keep it going.
All right, keep it going. Yeah, we need a little female energy up here. So let's give this one to Q Butter. Let's give him a chance. All right. You know it, Q. Tell me a rule for you. Do it for the African symbol in your hand. It's the Continental Olympics. Ready? I bet you know this. First few words. Watch. He named every guitar he owned Lucille. I could keep going, but you should just know that off the muscle. He named every guitar he owned Lucille after an incident at one of his performances when two men got into a fight over a woman named Lucille. They set the building on fire, and he ran back into the burning building, saving his $30 guitar. Who is he?
We're going with Jimmy.
He gotta leave. He gotta leave. I see Q Butter, wife over there. It ain't that. This does Enqi, you know?
Stevie Wonder.
Absolutely not. You never say that song. It's on you.
Fair Prince.
It's on you. Here we go. Give him a 10 point.
BB King.
Absolutely. You don't know BB King. Every guitar name is Lucille. I knew that. What's up? So the next, oh, say that again.
Next question. The architect may answer. Go to the audience. If they get it right, they get a copy of the colored book, Revolutionary Mind Cinema, and $20.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Being that he's clearly gonna win, let's just go to the audience and give somebody $20. Like, what are we doing? So I'm gonna pick somebody. All right, this is what we're gonna do. I see you hiding over there with the burgundy shirt. So I'm picking you first. Then we're gonna go around. This is number 25. So this is, I like that number. On February 5th, 1884, this king patented, that's what I'm saying. I dropped out of school. On February 5th, this king did that. Improved mechanical, patented. All right, see that? See how it came out? You trying to play it? All right. February 5th, 1884, this king patented his improved mechanical egg beater. What is his name? You pass it. Do you know it? Bro, right there. Q Butter wife, you know it? We gonna go around the room. Somebody knows. Y'all want $20? All right, listen. It's just a dude, black man. Somebody, and do anybody know it? Egg beater. Somebody eat eggs? Pancakes? Sunny side up. We still with the audience. Oh. Willis John, he knew it. Willis. Yo. How you know that? You don't even eat eggs. You know egg beater, you even eat eggs.
We gotta check his tablecloth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's doing something over there. It's in the water. You ever seen that movie, The Cure for Wellness? It's in the water. All right. So we're gonna do this one right here. I'm gonna pick Rhodes as big as nail. You know this. This political prisoner wrote live from death row. We want freedom and death blossoms. Who is it? Right here, bro. You know? All right. Ain't passing. Do any of y'all know it over here? Bro, you know it? Do anybody know it? Bro, right there. Knowledge. Woo! He said, this political prisoner, right? I could have sworn I heard you say Tupac. You said Tupac. No, this political wrote live from death row. So you just heard Death Row Records and you just said Tupac. How old are you, bro? Just turned 30. Who said what? Somebody said something. Yeah, but you looked at your phone, so we ain't doing that. No cheating.
Brooklyn?
She gonna remember that the rest of her life.
If that's the case, everybody can use Google.
Well, let's be smart here.
We have a rule, no Google.
Correct.
But see, that's not Brooklyn though, you know. Because like when I go in Brooklyn, like sometimes I go on Target, I just steal for GP every now and again. That's Brooklyn. I steal trail mix, I steal everything. No, I'm only serious. So who we going with? Let's go to this side. You feel left out. All right.
I got this.
All right. All right, here we go. Name the ancient African board game that's similar to chess, but played at a much faster pace, is used to teach young kings to see the bigger picture, strategize, and act quickly. What game is this?
Othello.
Cuba, it's on you. No. You can either answer it or you pass. All right, you pass. There you go. Pass to it. Watch this. Watch this. There you go. Hey, just go past it.
Senate or Senate. S-E-N-E-T. S-E-N-E-T, Senate or Senate.
It feels good to say you're wrong. Woo! Hold that down, bro. Hold that down. Hold that down. Bro. I don't know how to say that. Well, when one say that in the mic, because I want somebody else to sound crazy to think.
A Mora Baraba.
Mari Baraba.
That's the answer. Oh, no, A is fan. I'm thinking that's A. They died. Mora Baraba.
Nobody's supposed to know that. All right. So where we at? Who we on? You with that, right? Q. Q, why you smiling and using Scott smile? Like, all right, you ready? All right, you gonna know this. I got faith. This just happened. This is current. You've been alive for a long time, right? Ready? She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015, right? That's 2 years ago, bro. Now I know you active, right? So I'm gonna keep going. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015, had a movie made about her. You got the fire stick. Was the first woman to attend West Virginia University, and she even helped calculate the orbit of the 1969 Apollo flight to the moon. Who is she? Cuba? No, you don't get a choice. You got to pass it that way. Enqi,
Who is Cookie from Empire?
Cookie, you don't watch Empire.
4 points.
Nah, bro, you gotta say her name. It's on you. 2? What's these odd numbers? You ain't gonna catch up to KT with 2 points.
I know.
Oh, okay. He's very generous. But it's Captain Johnson said the woman with Google. What happened? Because he gave it to him already.
Got 5 minutes left, fam.
5 minutes left. All right, let's go.
Oh,
So it's on bro right there. He like Sadie. Ready? From 1974 to 1977, this came woman of the Black Panther Party also ran twice for position of City Council of Oakland, California. Name her.
Repeat that one more time.
You see how fast I did that? You may do that again. From 1974 to 1977, this came woman of the Black Panther Party also ran twice for the position of City Council of Oakland, California. Name her. She wrote a book too. I know this because I read a book.
I don't got that book.
All right. It's a woman. She also became the leader of the Black Panther Party.
The Angela?
Absolutely not. Here we go.
Simon.
Absolutely. They done stole her. She done broke out of jail. She was the president. Of the Black Panther Party. But it wasn't. It's Elaine Brown. She wrote a book called Power to the People. I do read. All right, so we over here, all right? All right, watch. All right, whose quote is this? Be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, but it says obey. See, it was up here tripping me up. That's why I was mispronouncing stuff. All right, anyway, whose quote is this? Be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone put their hands on them, you send them to the cemetery. Who was that?
The X.
That's absolutely right. They want to point. Look at the words. I can read, right? Look at these words.
That's okay.
This is what I'm saying. That's what they've been doing. This is what they've been doing to me. They're going to look at me on the live stream like, what's Kurt to us?
It's a setup.
I'm saying. Kurt to us, we're going to flip it. That's the new word.
The white printer company, you see, they sabotage.
That's like the black ink. All right.
Conspiracy.
You might know this, Casey. You like sports? Yeah, I don't think so. I know you just like eat like DNA every day and stuff. No, amino acids. You eat the sun. You eat all types of stuff every day. All right. This is a pretty easy one. I'm gonna start giving out hints a little bit, so speed it up. Who has the most steals for a career in Major League Baseball?
Ricky Henderson.
Absolutely correct. He didn't even know. Yeah. All right. Enqi, this is on you. 1 year after her passing in 1995, Toni Morrison published some of her unpublished works entitled it Deep Sightings and the Rescue Mission, Fiction, Essays, and Conversation. Whose works did Miss Morrison use? Your face is so happy.
Like, why can't I get the Yankee question? Ricky Henderson. Oh.
That ain't it. Okay.
Whose works did she use?
Toni Morrison is still alive, so she put some money books out. 1 year after her passing in 1995. 95 is a long time ago.
What you say? Okay, you passed you what?
Okay.
Pass to the other team.
Tony Kade Babara.
Nah, I don't want to play with him. That's it. That's it. How you know that? You got something going on with it. Didn't you have the same cheat sheet he had?
No.
Okay, so who we on? This is very, very current. This is like a Enqi or KT question. But Stacy, we're gonna give this to you, and then you're gonna pass it to KT, and then he's gonna wash, rinse, repeat, right? Quite possibly the most famous astrophysicist on the planet. He hosted Nova Science Now, making science both interesting and entertaining. Name him. It's on you. What?
Start with a T.
Does his name start with a T? One of the names.
Okay. So that's
No, you're right. Just give him.
You got it over here.
It ain't on y'all. It's on KT.
Pass.
Oh, he passed. Okay, here we go. Giving y'all hope. He trying to spread love. That's right. That's right. Mike Tyson. No, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, that's it. Last question. Okay.
So with that answer, I'm now in a tie with KT, correct?
We found a good one. We found a good one. Who's it on? It's on you, right? So let me find a good one. All right. Here we go. See how I look out for you?
How are you?
Now, he's already going to know this. And if you don't, unsubscribe from his YouTube. All right. Ready?
Ready.
This is easy. Okay. The children out there, right?
Okay.
All right. Which cholesterol is good for you? HDL or LDL? Think of it as a healthy. Think of it as a healthy cholesterol.
This is a layup for you. I'm gonna pass.
Subscribe, unsubscribe from his YouTube. ACL or LD? I mean, you could just guess.
LD.
Not at all.
What's the other one?
Thank y'all for coming to the concert. I'm Doggie Diamonds. Everybody can you say something one more time. Que Butter.
Peace, y'all, brother Que Butter.
I'm Asa Bey.
My name is KT the Art Degree. High density lipoprotein, HDL.
Let me ask you to say that here. Somebody said, who are you?
We need to know what the good cholesterol, y'all have a cholesterol problem, so I want y'all to know. HDL, KT the Art Degree. Thank y'all for coming.
Stacy, peace.
And my name is Doggie Diamonds. This is the Contest Olympics. This is the 5th annual, I believe. Thank y'all for coming. It's my first time in Detroit. I want to see the hood, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I want to see it. Huh? The hood is everywhere?
You need to find somewhere to eat.
But the difference, see, the difference.
You didn't bring no food.
All right, but the difference is, though, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I heard all I was saying earlier. I like chicken. I'm gonna eat some chicken today. Y'all can eat leaves, y'all can eat all that. I mean, eat some chicken. Preferably Buffalo Wild Wings. Caribbean jerk. Listen, I don't want no. First of all, I'm from Brooklyn, right?
Listen, if you're looking for the hood, it's at the corner.
All right, now look. Let me explain something. I'm from Brooklyn.
That's the corner.
Now listen. I'm from Brooklyn. I've seen mad places that say Coney Island. There's only one Coney Island, and that's in Brooklyn. So I'm not eating no imitation Coney Island stuff. All right? Where's Coney Island at?
Y'all mind if I get this man?
Yes.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
It's in Brooklyn, but not here, though.
But it's not Coney Islands out here.
Wait, we gotta get the award ceremony.
All right, let's do that. All right. Oh yeah, Red Pill won last year, so they have some type of cheating DNA or something like that. All right, so this is the Contest Olympics.
They permanently banned the whole family. Little kids, grandma, grandpa, everybody.
And the unborn.
That's dope.
All right. Well, you should try blue pills because there gotta be one of them that ain't right. Let's just try to see who it is. Let's go.
I can't risk the money, bro.
Blue might be a little small.
What you should do is the next time put A.A. Rashid against blue pill. See how that works out.
Whoa.
If you can get that brother here, it'll work it out.
You can do that. It's easy. Shout out to Apple. All right, so this is, we like to present KT the Arts Degree with this award right here for him. He's smart.
Wait a minute, hold on.
He do some books in the sun and DNA and everything. Oh.
Cash out. Oh, and on behalf of Revolutionary Mind Cinema, Liberation Minded Media, Intellectually Petty, and My Skin is My Sin, and Doggie Diamonds TV. I want to say we love y'all, Black Power, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. And Doggie, you did a hell of a job.
Thank you.
Appreciate
This
it.
is where he won the money. And
Cash
I
out.
like to give it to him because we did a YouTube video, right? I get PC. Brooklyn. You're from Brooklyn too, right? See? You're from the Bronx.
Look at that. Division in the community.
I really don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna do our best to make sure and my man Doggie gonna get up on the chicken tonight. We have to give him some real food. Detroit deep with the vegan. Y'all got a lot of vegan love out here. We gotta show Doggie what's up. Cause he's used to leaves and vinegar. That ain't what they
We're gonna get you some fake chicken.
No, just some real food. www.kttheartsdegree.com, KT the Arts Degree on Instagram, YouTube, Kamani Tate on Facebook. And if y'all want to get the information you hear me talking about all the time, I would love to have the greatest course in the world for you, but I don't. This man does. God Complex course at 40 Day Food Fast. All right?
Thank you, sir.
Alright, we gonna bring Q, but I couldn't wear my shades because I couldn't barely read anyway. I couldn't read my shades. But y'all can follow me on everything Doggie Diamonds, DOGGIEDIAMONDS TV. Doggie Diamonds TV is a YouTube, on my Instagram, on everything. My grandma called me Doggie Diamonds, so don't ask me what my real name is. It ain't gonna get business. So once your grandmother call you stuff, it's official. That's what I'm saying. So I like to bring Q Butter up. You know, he goes around fixing people credit. He does credit repair all the way from Brooklyn, Brownsville. So I'm a little biased again. I got 2 Brooklynites up here. And he's been on the road. How long you been on the road, bro? 5, 6 days. So he's coming all the way from Chicago, by the way of Brooklyn and other places. And he's just been on the road. So Q Butter, come up, say something to the people. And pronounce that for them too, because I always be getting twisted. Zayax. Q Butter. Wow.
So real quick, I don't have much time. My name is Brother Q Butter. I'm an activist, I'm an educator, I'm an entrepreneur, and more importantly, I'm a father. Y'all hear me right?
More importantly, my name is Q Butter, Brother Q. I'm an activist, educator, entrepreneur, and the reason why I did this tour, I'm on a Black Empowerment tour. Purpose of empowerment is to uplift, inspire, and to spread confidence amongst our people. Now, everywhere I've been, we have corporations, businesses, Black-owned theaters. The footage I have just shows the great potential that we have been exuberating in our community. And so I just want to continue on that path. What led me into credit repair is knowing that I partner with one of the only Black-owned banks in New York City. I work with a lot of different corporations in New York City, not as individuals. And the reality is education is stifling our potential. We do not have any means of education in the field of finances and real finances. A lot of us have businesses, but we're not being taught how to develop our business credit. We have tons of individuals in our community who are being taken advantage of with their personal credit. A lot of our elders, a lot of our sisters, a lot of our brothers are making hasty decisions with their business and not knowing what to do. I've met several sisters that just, for example, in Atlanta, it's $150 to make a corporation, LLC in Atlanta. I spoke to almost 5 people who spent almost $1,000, $900, $800 just off of simple research. So things of this nature is really hurting our community and keeping us from being able to grow and just go and build the way that we want to. So credit in particular is one subject that almost all of us, grasp towards and want to, delve into. Just to give you some Jews, it's against the law for anybody to charge you up front for credit repair. On my website, I have tons of information available. So you can get debt validation letters. You can get letters for arguing with the credit reporting agencies themselves. There's 3 credit reporting. I'm throwing a lot of information. I'm just going to keep throwing it as fast as possible. We don't have enough time. There's 3 credit reporting agencies: Equifax on the East Coast, TransUnion in the Midwest, Experian on the West Coast. Those 3 credit reporting agencies are paid by corporations to post up their information in their credit report. There's a very specific procedure they have to follow anytime they post up on their credit report. They need your ID, they need a contract such as your application, and they need a consent. So we need a consent to sign on your contract. This is how it starts off the entire report that you get. That report is then it's followed up with the bills that you paid, the amount of money that you paid, any missing information, if any missed payments, and that's typically what a report is. The purpose of the report is to keep up the data and let other people who may potentially want to give you a form of credit or anything, they can look at your report and see the history with other people. Credit is pretty much just the ability to go to someone else and get a good service at a future dated time based off of faith. Credit was invented thousands of years ago, and it's intuitively intertwined with business. And part of the reason our community is stifled so much is because we don't have that many businesses being created in our community. In my opinion, the reason for that is because of integration. And integration created policies and programs that decimated our community's thought process in creating schools. The schools are needed to create the minds that are going to build the businesses. The schools are going to be what's needed to teach our children to be entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, from 1965 on, they've been telling our children that we need to be integrated into a system that just gives us a glass ceiling. So we've been happily getting jobs as CEOs, parking meter aids, and little assistants inside of the office, even down to presidents. But the reality is, what's needed to make our community work is business. To be able to go to his tire shop with my transportation company, and, trees, with your trees in Brazil, and be able to streamline it to you. You know that you can come to me, I'll deliver the product to you, I'll pick up the product for you, and that's real credit. That's real credit. And that's what created the word trade line. A lot of times we hear the word trade line float around. If they can't explain to you a trade line like that, they don't understand the definition of a trade line, where even the history of credit comes from. It's why we have to protect ourselves and make sure that this line is established and reestablished. I call it a circuit, and the word circulate. And so in order for our community to have a circulation, we need to pass the information around and make sure that the components of our community are healthy and properly developed. And so I'm not talking about shade on the creators and our music studios. I'm talking about our mechanics, our plumbers, our doctors. These are the people who provide the livelihood of our community. So again, going back to the credit, we need to make sure that we understand how to develop the platform for community credit and things of that nature. So going back to the credit reports, when we talk about trade lines, typically a trade line is anything that you get from a business, and it's showed up on your credit. So you may have something from Macy's, that's considered a trade line on your report. You may have something from Walmart, that's considered a trade line. Now, there's a law that a lot of people hear about, and mostly don't hear about, but they hear about buying and selling trade lines. That law was thrown out there through the Fair Credit Reporting Act in the 73 or 74, something like that. It's pretty much white women were complaining that they weren't able to get the credit that their husbands were getting. And that's when credit was made more of a consumer product. So the white women complained that we can't get the credit. So the white man said, all right, I'm going to add a little law that says you can add a spouse to any of your trade lines. Fast forward 15 years later, the scammers and all the people in the undermarket turned trade lines into a huge market until about 2008 when it exploded on the government and the market crashed. They blamed trade lines as the backbone reason as to why the market crashed. They were giving you houses based off of him selling you trade lines of her credit and never verifying your income. They did that all over the place, and then on top of that, you're buying a house from him and he ballooned the price. You don't even understand market fair prices, you don't understand credit, you don't understand interest. So he just took advantage of you and he was a predator. Without education, we're not able to recognize the predators in our community. In our community, we have payday loans, right? Buy here, pay here, cash now, Title Max. These are predatory corporations that are not allowed in communities that are extremely about their money and their education. So going back, he just got a house in Detroit for $90,000. It's only worth $40,000. Then you turned around and sold him a bunch of trade lines from her credit, and then the whole market crashes, and then the government's blaming the bank and saying, why would you love the money? The bank said, I couldn't tell his credit looked good. So this is why in 2008, they created the FICO 08. FICO stands for the Fair Isaac Credit Reporting Organization, and they used to use just the FICO score. But in 2008, they changed FICO to FICO 08. Then they got pissed off again and changed it to FICO 09. So these are things you need to know, because now you can still add him as an authorized user on your credit. However, the banks now can recognize the difference between the authorized user and a regular account. Before 2008, they couldn't. Another thing that Obama changed with that is income verification. So now almost everything is based off of income verification. I know I'm putting a lot of information out there to keep on income verification. So now in order to get a house, you got to be able to show within 3 bank statements that you have this much money. Anything now, everything and almost everything is based off of income verification. This is very powerful with credit, because we're getting our butt whipped by other people who have credit, and they're using their credit money to show income. And this is why they're starting off their laundromats in New York. We have Clean Right. Clean Right pretty much got rid of all the little laundromats. They walk in, they got A1 credit, $1 million in available cash in their credit. They walk in by top machines. They pay their rent for 10 years, or they buy the property. They can buy soap from Walmart at a price that we can't even afford to get it, so they can sell it at a price we can't afford to compete at. The same thing is going on with our salons. The Asian people are coming in using credit, compiled credit, and they're able to walk in and get 10,000 things of shea butter at $1 each, and while we got to buy 40 of them and paying almost $7 each. And these little small things in the long run make us lose, and they're holding our community back. So going back to the trade lines, and it's a very important reason I'm bringing this up, is because we still can't add trade lines. And unfortunately, in many of our communities, there's people selling selling trade lines. I don't promote the buying or selling of trade lines. I promote the development of trade lines. I would much rather see you develop your credit and add Enqi onto one of your cards, knowing that he's going to be developing his credit just based off of one card that you have him to. Still, the banks don't like hearing people talk about this, but it's still legally able to do this. But now, if we continue to do this, just like in Georgia, this is my second time around in Georgia, and the same group we met with, literally, I can quantify and say they've increased their value by almost $100,000, $200,000. And just by working together, they'll be able to increase multiple people's value. And so again, you have a card with Capital One, you can add her and 4 other people, 5 people in total, onto that Capital One card. The main thing you have to remember is utilization, keep your credit score low, meaning that you keep your amount low, and then you can add her and that's gonna come up on your credit. Don't give her a credit card. The credit card comes to you, and she can't do nothing to hurt you, and it won't do nothing to affect her. The difference is in most of our communities, I would find you with your Capital One card, come on, one of these TV shows and say, look, I'm selling trade lines. Charge $350 for it, and I'm charging you who needs it. And the problem is, you own a store. You own a business, and your business is what been keeping your credit from going because you've been spending all your money with your business. We need to understand that she's the real meat of the community. You've been working a job and developing your stuff and just paying your stuff on time. We just need you to support her. And that's going to be able to support the schools. So I cannot theoretically promote the selling of each other's or breaking bread. In the Jewish community, they don't sell to each other, they break bread. They do business with each other and break bread with each other. We're going to relearn how to break bread with each other. Using trade lines is a great way of developing each other's credit and breaking bread with each other. Then from there, we can compile credit. This is something we have to start learning how to do and having faith with it. 3 months of money, $10,000 in a bank account for 3 months, I'll have to have it. But if somebody in there had $10,000 in a business bank account, almost guarantees you $100,000 in financing. So maybe you can walk out in the street and just go to any bank and get $100,000 in financing with $10,000 in the bank. You may not have it, but the 3 of you may have it. I know a lot of us hear people talk about straw mans. Most people in here never met a straw man. I got paid by a straw man in Harlem, and that's when I realized, like, oh, straw man is just pretty much a scam to me. So, ready to go? 10 minutes. All right, so straw man incorporation is just a fictitious corporation. We can make these anywhere, make them anytime. We go around tomorrow morning, make a corporation in Detroit. You two can make a corporation, put the money in your account, and get that $10,000 in there for 3 months to be able to show that income. This is very important in our community because a lot of times we have people with property and they cannot get equity loans because they cannot show income. They can't show consistent income enough to get that type of money. These little small things is hurting us. When we will talk about our corner stores, we're not able to walk into Jetro. I don't know what your distributor is out here, but for us it's Jetro. Walk in there, $60,000 of product. Being able to be paid out over a long period of time. Because we can't do that, we're going in and buying 300, 500. We just spent 4 different trips going to the same store. Just in gas alone, we lost. So these little small things is hurting us. You selling her trade lines, hurting us. Them not being able to develop their business credit. Just simple things knowing what the difference between a net 30 is and vendor credit and business credit. We're not being taught this. Nobody in our schools taught us what PayEx is, what a business, what Dun & Bradstreet is. They didn't teach us, they don't teach really anybody this information. And they expect you to know it. In Carver Bank in Brooklyn, you cannot get a business loan if you don't have a Dun & Bradstreet number. The average person does not know what a Dun & Bradstreet number is or even how to get it for free. If you type it in, they're going to charge you $300. You can get that Dun & Bradstreet number for free. Just make your corporation, have your phone number, call up Uline, and they can order it. More than likely, they'll give you business credit up front, long as you have a location, phone number, and an email address with your same business name on it. We need to know these things. You might have a shipping company for your products. Just having $500 in Uline credit will save you $5 a month in buying packaging. UPS gives out vendor credit. You just save yourself $1,000 so that way now when you make the money, you can put that back into it. This only works with guaranteed money. Credit works with guaranteed money. They give you a $10,000 credit card and they give you a $5,000 credit card, and even if you're not using it, let's take that $15,000 and put it into our business. Just run it back and forth. We're not even going to spend it. It costs $300 to take $10,000 off the credit card. PayPal, whatever, Square Box, one of these little things, $300. So if you got $10,000 credit, you have it before, why not spend that $900 for 3 months and you get $100,000 in credit? You go online online, they typically charge you $10,000 for this exact method. This exact method, they charge you $10,000. They charge you they're going to get you the money, and take $10,000 out, and you'll have $90,000 when they finish with you. You can do this yourself. You can work together with yourself. You can see somebody with a store. I got a couple more dollars. Grandma might have died, left you some money. And you're walking past all of these black-owned businesses and looking at them struggle and say, oh, they should do better. Walk up to them and say, look, I'm going to make a separate corporation with you. You can put some money into account. We can get some money up. We'll do a little business contract. We can make this work. You just created a straw man, created a corporation. You have some semi-protection. You got a business transaction. And you already have something that's making money. You're not assuming that it's not going to make money. No, he has a freaking barbershop that's been there for 10 years. Obviously, he can use some more blades. Obviously, he will make money. Obviously, he's paying his rent. Obviously, he's struggling. If he wasn't here, she wasn't struggling, they would have had 4 or 5 different barbershops and salons already. So we have to start looking at this in a very strategic and tactical way. This is what we're on this tour. I'm trying to help I'm going to help every single business that I've met with, spoke to each person. I know I put a lot of information out there as quick as possible, but you can go to my website, ziax.com. We have our own little institute in Brooklyn. This program that we're talking about specifically with financial literacy is our Project Flip program, financial literacy improvement program. Again, our goal is to flip the face of our communities, educational literacy, and really just reinvent what we've been sold in the time of the past, that we're not successful, that we don't know how to handle ourselves, and that we don't know how to manage our resources and money. We want to flip that and really showcase a whole different view of our people. That's what we did on the tour. We showed tons of beautiful businesses, people all over the place that's doing more than not just anything in shea butter. There's a lot more people that are doing something in shea butter, tow truck companies. They got more than different waters. You know what I mean? More than just music studios. A lot of times we get caught up with the typical, street stuff. And there's people that's actually doing a lot more than that. We have to support them and really look at them as examples for our children to look to. We was sold on TV. Not everybody wants to be an empire. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that's in computer design. I just left one big school in Detroit that's completely black owned. He has no business credit. They're spending it all out of their own pocket. They have to charge a lot of money to the students. He would have a lot more donations if the businesses in Chicago were making that much more money. The businesses in Chicago that are black owned, none of them are using business credit. It's a very simple cycle that you just look at. Then the regular individuals who run those businesses, most of their credit is no good. It's a very simple cycle that if we just focus on, it's quantifiably measurable. We can just say, right now this year, I've done almost 500 people's credit to 700 people's credit this year. I know for a fact by next year this time, I've increased the black community's wealth by at least $2 to $5 million, $10 million. Just off of just simply giving people free information. So with that, you hit me up online. My name is Q Butter, and we do music. I'm an engineer. That's what I do. I'm also Brother Q. Came to get confused for the elders. My website again is xyayx.com. Click on the button that says the Institute. Underneath there, you'll see our different programs. We have youth enrichment programs. We have programs for the adults, DGD classes, things of that nature. If you want to donate and support, GoFundMe, the Ziax Institute, and if not just us, support everybody that you see doing stuff for the Black Liberation. Black Power.
On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Definitely appreciate that. I want to thank Asa. I want to thank Enqi. I want to thank KT. Queen, I want to thank you. Definitely appreciate you filling in. I want to thank Q Butter, man. Like, the Black Empowerment Tour, man. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's like 700 cities in 12 minutes. Like, I don't know how you even walk right now. Like, I'm on films. And I've only been out really for a day. So salute to the kings and the queen. And thank you. We definitely will continue to try to bring you the Conscious Olympics, and we try to build up on it. And shout out to Doggie Diamonds, man. Phenomenal job. On that note, peace, Black Power. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. If you're interested in this space, please let me know. We only do conscious, healthy events, anything that's going to help and build the community. Not so much birthday parties, but if you want to rent it out for a different event, something similar to this, please let me know. Thank you.
Okay.